I'm Kelley, the plant-based kitchenista. This is take 2. Yesterday we were actually doing the show for Chef AJ, and then the entire neighborhood blocks, 4,000 homes and stuff lost power. So no internet, no power, nothing. So it cut right in the middle, right when I was getting probably within 10 minutes of plating. So we're going to just do a start over so you guys can see everything from the beginning to the end. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to do plant-based meatball subs. Then we're going to do, on top of that, we're going to do a marinara sauce, which of course is a meatball sub. Then we're going to do a cheese sauce. So it's going to be a creamy cheese sauce. And then I've kind of added like a little bit of Philadelphia cheesesteak in that. So we're actually going to saute up some bell peppers and onions, and we're going to add those on top of that, and then some microgreens. So instead of just being like a normal meatball sub, it's going to be a fancier, I guess, meatball sub. So I'll show you do the marinara sauce, which we've already got on the stove, just heating up. Cheese sauce we'll make. And then for dessert, we're going to do a red, white, and blue parfait with a millet granola. So the millet granola, we're going to make a lot less of it because we made part of it yesterday, got put in the oven, of course, with power. Part of it got baked and part of it didn't, but I'll bake the rest out today. But I'll just do a small amount so I can show you what the parfaits are going to look like. But the millet granola is really fun, and it's one stuff that I've made, and I know Chef AJ's asked about it, so we are going to make that too. So let's get started on a couple of things. We're going to get the meatball subs going because I want to get those in the oven. Then I'll do the granola and we'll get that going because those things need to go in the oven. And then we'll do like the cheese sauce. We'll do the whipped cream. We'll do the other things the ingredients are going to get for the plating. So, all right. So let's get started. So all I did was a can of kidney beans, and there's a little bit more in the can because some of it was left over from yesterday. So I just took the kidney beans and I mashed them up. So they're rinsed, drained, and then mashed. That's all you need to do with that. So I'm just going to put that aside because we'll work on that. It's going. So I'm going to saute a little bit with vegetable broth, stock, or water. And if you're following along, we're going to do red onions. We're going to do one small red onion. You don't have to do red onions. You can do yellow, white, scallions, whatever's your favorite, whatever you have in your fridge. I always have red onions and white onions, so we're going to get those sauteed up. And we're going to kind of mix things up a little bit just so we can keep things going for you. So while those are sauteing, we're going to get the millet granola going too. So the millet granola, so we've got dates. Let me grab everything over. So we've got, I always have to look up and make sure, so I'm telling you guys right. We've got 3/4 cup of millet. So millet is a great grain. It almost is like a little tiny, like little, I guess little circles. You don't have to cook it or anything like that. You're just going to put it in the granola, and it's going to give a really nice crunch. So I'm just going to add that in the bowl because we're going to mix a lot of things up, and then we're going to add the wet ingredients to it to make sure that it all kind of sticks together a little bit. So we got the millet in there. We've got 2 cups of, normally 2 cups of rolled oats. Like I said, I'm making less of the recipe because I already have quite a bit of the millet granola. So I'm only going to add in a cup of the rolled oats. Then we've got 1/2 cup of sliced almonds. You could use any nut that you want. You could do walnut, pecans, whatever's your favorite. And then I've got about 1/2 cup of pepitas, so pumpkin seeds. And those are pretty, you can see already it's got a little bit of the green, but you could add in like, dried fruit like blueberries and apples. I've done that before, bananas, all kinds of different things. So I'm giving you the base of the recipe, and then you can always add to it depending on what flavors you want. All right, then we're going to do a little bit of the spices. So we have a teaspoon of ground ginger, and let's say a tablespoon of ground cinnamon and a teaspoon of ground ginger. That's going to give it your nice flavor. And then we've got the wet ingredients. So I have dates. So they've been soaking for probably 10, 15 minutes. So I'm going to add them into the blender real quick. Kind of watching two things at once. So you want to make sure that your onions are translucent. So they'll take just a few minutes to saute. Then we'll add in the garlic. All right, let's add in dates. Take a minute to blend up. When I blend the dates and stuff, especially for the granola, I tend to leave them a little chunky. The reason why is because then the dates, you can kind of bake the dates up a little bit, and they're good. They're really sweet. All right, so you can see they're still a little chunky, which is just fine. So I'm going to add that in. Everything. Add a little bit of water so it doesn't stick everywhere on the blender. Then I have flaxseed. So I have 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed with 6 tablespoons of water. So I just had that soaking, ready to go. That's just a nice binder. And then I have raisins, and raisins I've been soaking in water. The reason why is a lot of times and stuff when you bake raisins, they get really chewy and kind of hard. And sometimes if you keep them in your pantries and stuff for a while, they're chewy and hard anyway. So what I do is I just soak them and give them a little bit of soak. And then that way, when I put them into the granola, they're actually nice and soft. All right, spoon. Mix everything up. Very simple granola. Like I said, this is where you could add all your different, make sure you got like your dried fruits, but just make sure when you're using a lot of your dried fruits, that you're definitely not using ones with a lot of sugar. So currants, blueberries, apples, all those are really good. Okay, towards the end, add in your raisins. Oops. 2 or 3 hanging out. That way. All right, there it is, ready to go. So parchment lined baking sheet. Get my fingers on it. You can also use silpat if you want. It's completely up to you. I just a lot of times use the parchment paper because then I don't have to wash the silpat, and it's just a lot easier. So just my preference. And if you're like, if some people I know don't like rolled oats, you definitely don't want to use the fast cooking oats and stuff because they tend to stick together a lot. But if you're not a fan of oats, then what you could do is just use more millet or add a different grain. Just spread it out. All ready to go. Recipe makes a lot more than this. It usually fills up this pan. But like I said, since it's take 2 and yesterday I already had some millet granola, I just made half. All right, onions are ready. Add in garlic. So 1 clove of garlic. Make sure when you're sauteing, you don't burn your garlic because if you ever get when you're eating something and has garlic and it's just really like almost bitter and kind of burns, becomes really hot, that means you burnt your garlic. All right, so we got that in there. So follow along the recipe. So we got the onions. Now we're going to add the mushrooms. So we have a half a cup of mushrooms chopped up, so diced. I'm not a mushroom fan, but as long as it's basically mixed up in something, I'm okay. And I don't get the big chunks. But if you're not a mushroom fan, you can substitute out like eggplant if you wanted to, which would be another really good thing. But or just grind up your mushrooms or use like a mushroom powder. You could do that. Then we got the beans, the kidney beans. So we're going to add in the spices. So we have 1 teaspoon of dried oregano, 1 teaspoon of dried basil. So one of the things that we talk about, and we talked about in take 1 of this video, is a lot of people sometimes don't like dried oregano if it's too much. So what you want to do is always start low on the spices because you can always add in. So taste it, put your spices in, taste it. And if you want more oregano, add it. It's hard to take out. So always put in and put in less and then add more. So just add that to your beans. Then we're going to add, so then we've got the low sodium soy sauce, or you could use coconut aminos or Bragg's, whatever you want. Then I have 1 tablespoon of tomato paste. I have a 1/3 cup of sunflower seeds. They're raw, and I put them into a coffee blender and blended them up. So they're almost like a powder, I guess. Not quite, but close. And you could use, you don't have to do sunflower seeds, but you could use, if you happen to have walnuts and you're like, I don't want to go to the store to buy sunflower seeds, feel free, you can do that. And then we have, let's see, I know I missed it on here. So we're adding oats, and I was just looking for the amount. Oh, 1/2 cup of rolled oats. I always like to tell you the amount. All right. A little bit longer. I want to get as much moisture as I can out of the mushrooms and the onions. But go ahead and give a quick little mix to all your ingredients that are in your red kidney beans. If you don't like kidney beans, pinto beans, cannellini beans, you could switch it out that way too. Black beans. Spices smell good. They smell good. So just look like right now, red beans mixed up. There. Dump in the onions, the garlic, and the mushrooms. So you can see, easy take on meatballs. You could make this the day ahead of time, and then you refrigerate it, and then the next day, just bring them out and put them on a parchment line or a Silpat line baking sheet. That would be really easy to do. Or you could just make up a bunch and then put them in the air fryer. We were talking about that yesterday with Chef AJ, and just make them as you want them. All right. Nice and mixed. All right, big spoon. Parchment line baking sheet. Make them as big or small. Just know if you make them larger, then probably the size that I'm making them right now, it's going to take a lot longer to bake. But that's a good size for a meatball. Doesn't overpower your sandwich, but all good. Like this. Actually hold up really nice, which is really good. Sometimes when you make meatballs, and I've made a couple recipes before, they're like too crumbly, or they fall apart, or too dry when you bake them. These are really good. A little bigger, let's check it out. So I'm going to put these in a 350-degree oven and bake for about 12 to 15 minutes. And you're just going to kind of watch. So depending on what your oven is, how, if it's like a gas oven or electric, depends. So you just want to get it where they're nice. They're still a little bit spongy, but they have a nice coating, like a brown coating and stuff on the side, which is really good. Mix some of them up, get them going. And let's say you're baking these and they just feel like a little too moist, just add a little bit more rolled oats into them, and that helps. Or you could add, you could add in some of your, a little bit of your favorite flour or something like that to be able to mix it up. So, but these are just about perfect. I mean, they barely stick to my hands, and I can roll them, which is great. This recipe is going to make a little bit more than it normally would be for your recipe. And the reason why is because I had some beans left over from yesterday before the power went out. So I added that in too. A couple more, and we're going to get them in the oven. 2 more. So normally this makes about 12 to 14 meatballs. So you can see I've got a little bit more than that just because I had leftovers. All right, last one. Wash hands. They are gooey. Bit of wipe. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 20 right there. So these are going to go into the oven. So 350. All right, in the oven. All right, so the marinara sauce that's going to go on there. Like I said, I made it yesterday, and stuff, I just, basically talked about it too, because it's really simple to make. If you don't want to have to, to go through the trouble of making a marinara sauce, just buy, your favorite that's in a jar. It works just as well. But the marinara sauce, let's grab it. We got 1 can of diced tomatoes. So diced tomatoes, basically drained a little bit because they have a little bit of moisture in them, and then you just mash them up with a potato masher. We got 3 cans of tomato sauce. And you could even cut it down. So if it's just you or maybe 2 people and stuff, if you don't want to have, too much extra servings, then just, cut it down to like 2 cans of tomato sauce. Fresh basil, which, I added a bunch of fresh basil, have some leftover and stuff for the sandwiches today. And then a teaspoon of garlic powder, and then sea salt and black pepper to taste. So we always talk about and stuff that, I didn't add any sea salt into anything I'm making. You'll see that. I always just have, salt and stuff that's on the table. And if me wants a little bit of salt and stuff, then I just add it, but I don't actually cook with it anymore. So that is all it is on the marinara sauce. Simple, super easy to make. But like I said, if you don't want to make your own, you can freeze it also and have it for other ingredients. But if you don't want to make your own, just make a jar. It just makes it easy. It's all about cooking. They talk, it's all about community, but it's also about making things easy. So if, thinking about making like 4 or 5 different steps with this recipe, just buy a jar, buy your favorite. All right, so we've got the millet granola in there, so we're good with that. So we've got the cheese sauce that we need to make because we have the meatballs ready to go, so we can put that to the side. We've got cheese sauce to make, and we have the whipped cream to make. So I think I'm going to do the cheese sauce first. Well, no, I think I'm going to do the whipped cream first, because then that way I don't get, if there's any ingredients like garlic and onions and things like that in the cheese sauce, it doesn't get into the whipped cream. So let me get the whipped cream going first. Then a little blender. Grab the fruit over, because red, white, and blue parfait, of course, is going to be whipped cream, millet granola, blueberries, and strawberries. So we'll grab the fruit. All right, so the whipped cream. So you're just going to add a block of silken tofu. You can get it, you can either get the pantry safe, which is really nice. I'll show you in case you haven't seen the pantry safe one. I can smell the meatballs and I can smell the millet granola. So Marina silken tofu, that's the one that I get that's shelf safe. You can get it at pretty much all of your natural kind of grocers. Or if you don't have a natural grocer in town, you can order it from Amazon. And it's about $2.99 a pack, but you can put it on the shelf and not have to worry about using your refrigerator space. So that's the nice thing about that one. So that's what this is. Just break it up a little bit. So it's just been basically just draining, and it probably has, I would say a lot less, especially the ones that are on the shelf and stuff, has a lot less than what you're going to see in the refrigerator. The refrigerators and stuff the ones that are in the refrigerator section have quite a bit of moisture. This one probably has about a tablespoon or maybe 2 tablespoons, and that's it. And then you can drain that off. Then we've got, so we got 3 tablespoons of date paste. So I had made that yesterday. So use just the same dates that I was using for the millet granola, but I just pulled a little bit out the side, and I'm using that to sweeten the whipped cream. If you don't want to do date paste, you could also use agave, maple syrup, monk fruit, any of those different things. Just because I had both, it just made it easier. Then I've got 2 tablespoons of a dairy-free milk. This is a soy milk. You could use almond milk, hemp milk, all the different ones. Make sure I don't make as much noise. There we go. Okay. And then we've got 1 to 2 tablespoons of vanilla extract or powder. So I've just got the extract there. Either one works. that on. Give this a good rinse because I'm going to do the cheese sauce in this one. The other blender container and stuff is a larger one and it tends to splatter a little bit more. So I want to be able to use a small amount. I can smell the millet granola. It's cooking. You got that ginger and the cinnamon. It smells so good. Almost smells like holidays. Okay, so there is my whipped cream. So if you want, it's not a pure white, you know, like a normal silken tofu is, because you added the date paste in, which is more of the brown. So if you want to keep it like really white, then I'd probably do like a monk fruit type of a sweetener, or a sweetener that is more clear. But I think it's close enough to white, and it's healthy because it has the date paste in it. But you could also, with this whipped cream, you could also do, you know, once you make the parfaits, and let's just say you had a bunch left over the next day, you could just cut up a bunch of apples and different fruit and dip it in there. Makes a really good fruit dipping sauce. Okay, let me just do a quick rinse. I need like 4 blender containers, I think, when you're doing classes, it would be nice to do that, but about a minute or so, and drain for a minute. So there is the whipped cream silken tofu, all ready to go. So I'm just going to put that off to the side because we'll build the parfaits here in just a minute. All right, got water everywhere. Okay. All right, the next thing that we're going to do really quick and get things started is our onions and our bell peppers. So you could do whatever onion you want to do. It's just nice, you know, you just want to do nice little slices. So just cut your onions in half, do like half moons. That works out really well. I chose red onions, orange onions, and yellow. You could use a little bit of moisture and that'll be okay. You could use like green peppers, you know, green bell peppers if you wanted to. Just up to you, whatever you prefer. You could also, if you don't want to cut up bell peppers, you could also use the sweet mini bell peppers. All up to you of what you want to do. It's nice because what I'm doing is adding in the vegetables. So like I said earlier and stuff, it's like a Philly cheesesteak kind of with a meatball sub mixed together. So I kind of went into like 2 different specialties, adding 2 different specialties together, and kind of 2 different states known for things, but that's okay. It's all about being good. It's good for your stomach and good for your brain. Good. Check my granola. See, it's starting to brown up. Just give it a quick stir. That way your bottom that's browning will flip and your top can get brown too. Because it's nice when you get the millet and stuff, when you get a little bit of browning in the millet, really good, it's crunchy. Switch, and we'll put the meatballs on bottom. Granola on top. So the marinara, here's what it looks like. But I just have it on the stove and I'm just warming it up. Has all your fresh basil in it. You could add as much basil or as little basil as you want. But it's nice just warming up. The onions and the peppers all sauteed. Other things that you could add, and I was thinking about this last night, other things you could add, when you're cooking this, you could add like, kale, your favorite, like your Laquito kale, your favorite, greens, all those kind of things like that too. So, you got all these different vegetable stuff, but if you wanted to add even some greens to it, why not? Because usually you see meatball subs, it's pretty much the bread, the meatballs, you've got the marinara sauce, some kind of cheese, and a little bit of like either like parsley or basil or something like that on top. We're making it fancier than that. So if you want to add your greens, I would just do like a nice ribbon cut on your kale and then just add it in. Let those cook for a little bit. All right, cheese sauce. So we're going to grab all the ingredients, blend them all up together. What I'm really excited about, Parfait. That looks really good. And it's today, so we're Colorado, so it's been like 90s, like high 90s and stuff, which is really unusual for this early in the year, early in the summer and stuff. But it's like watering the plants and keeping things up. But today it's only like 85, kind of overcast, and it's really nice. So it actually take the parfait out and sit outside. It's going to be great. All right, so we're going to blend all these different ingredients together. So we have a half a cup of raw cashews. They've been soaking, so they've actually, and I'm going to drain them. They've been soaking overnight, actually probably for almost 2 days now. So in they go. They're nice and soft. All right, so we've got a cup of vegetable broth. We'll do that. Just grab one of my small measuring cups. This is a third, so just 3/3. If you don't have vegetable broth, water works just fine. All right, we've got 2 teaspoons of lemon juice, 2 tablespoons nutritional yeast, we have 1 teaspoon Italian seasoning. If you don't have Italian seasoning, it's basically a 1/4 teaspoon of oregano, thyme, sage, and rosemary. But I have the Italian seasoning, so put that in there. Then we've got, you could put the salt in there if you want. I've got a teaspoon of miso. So miso tends to be salty. So what I would recommend if you're doing this recipe, don't put your salt in first. Just do the miso, blend it up, and then figure out if you want to add any more salt. There you go. Because I think you'll find that the miso is going to give you pretty much the salt flavor. Put that down. All right, and then we've got a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. All right, then I've got my blender top. And let that blend a little bit because you've got the cashews in there. Those smell delicious. And the nice thing about it is definitely, 2 sandwiches having all these different vegetables on them. I'm gonna have more extra vegetables than I need. So, I can do, I can put it on top of some bread or some toast, or I can put it on some salad. So whatever I have left over, I'll use. Maybe even add it back into stir fry. Quick taste. A little bit longer. It's really good though. Quick and easy cheese sauce without, having to cook all the vegetables and do all that. That's what I like we always talk about, making things easy. So I got lots of cheese sauces, some with oats, some with all kinds of like potatoes and red bell peppers. They're all good. And some of them, they turn out really orange and pretty. This one's going to be more of a white cheese sauce, which was what I was looking for. But I also wanted something simple with all the different ingredients we're putting together. Keep it simple. Let's check our millet granola. Perfect. I'm gonna give it a little time to cool for a few minutes. You can tell I have a gas oven because that's what it does to my parchment paper on the side. Kind of get the chunks, but there it is. You can see it all browned and all nice and yummy. You've got a little bit of browning stuff on your raisins, but your raisins are still really nice and soft. And then you've got all the millet, which just makes it really pretty, and it also makes it very crunchy. Just kind of do this a little bit, just cool it off. Probably one of my most favorite granolas. Has a little bit of oats in it because a lot of times you get granolas that have lots and lots of oats. And I like a little bit of oats, but it has the ginger and the cinnamon, and then it has the sweetness and stuff from the dates and all the different things. It's just really good. And I love, without having to put all the sweeteners and stuff to stick everything together, it has this nice crunch, which I really like. And that's your millet. I keep moving it around just to cool it off a little bit. Meatballs should be ready. Taste the bell pepper, see what we're like. Yum. Beautiful and crowd-pleasing granola. We made this. We talked a little bit about it. Let me turn this off now. Those are ready. We talked about it. I did a yoga retreat, kind of like I guess a health and wellness retreat in Taos. And it was so nice. It was, beautiful place, all kind of Santa Fe looking and really pretty. And we had to make, we not had to, but we made snacks and stuff. So in between meals, everybody had snacks because, when you're doing yoga and walking and all those and stuff, it's nice to have, things to enjoy. And millet granola was one of the things, along with brownies. We made brownies too, but, and those, a lot of people hid those in their rooms, which was a good thing. But the millet granola was a hit. We probably, once when we took it out of the oven and we made a pan that was probably 3 times the size of this, because we were in a commercial kitchen, and we brought it out. And I swear people were just taking like handfuls and bowlfuls and stuff and taking it back to their rooms and eating versus let me even put it on the table. So I'm not sure if much got put on the table, but it's just that good. So let me grab a bowl so we can kind of get that in there and we can use it as the setup. That's another reason why I like parchment paper. Nice funnel. Mixture of the marinara sauce. Make sure it's nice and warm. Try it really quick. So there's the millet granola, just a bowl full. You could actually just take this like in the mornings and stuff, and you could pour, your favorite plant-based milk over it and just have cereal, which is really good. You could add it to your cereals. You could add it to your parfaits, whatever you like to do. Salads, really good, but we're going to do parfait today. Okay, so we've got cheese sauce made. I'll show you that. We've got everything else. Let's grab all this stuff out of the way. Need that. And I will grab one more bowl to get cheese sauce. see my cheese sauce. Here comes the cheese sauce. This cheese sauce, as you use it, will thicken up. So if you put it in the refrigerator and things, it will definitely thicken up. What I didn't want though is like when I'm doing the sandwiches, I didn't want it real thick. So this is actually perfect. I'll show you the nice pourable cheese sauce. Flavor wise, it tastes like a white cheese sauce, which is really good. And that's exactly what I was looking for. I have all the colors, you know, especially the marinara and all that. I wanted to have something that was more of a kind of a white cream sauce. All right, so I'm gonna put that to the side. All right, we're gonna build the parfaits first, and then we're gonna build the meatballs. You can tell they're nice and browny. Just a few more minutes, just a couple more minutes. I have little parfait glasses, but I decided I wanted to use the wine glasses just because it's a little bit easier. The parfait glasses stand tall and it's harder to get things in unless you start doing piping. So we're just going to use these. All right, so you start out, granola in the bottom, much as little as you want. You want enough to where you can kind of see it on the sides. Oh. Then we're going to add your whipped cream. Make sure you get it all to the sides. You could make these up a day ahead of time too, especially with the 4th of July coming up. A little bit more to even it out. Okay. Then you've got your strawberries and your blueberries. You could add them in either order. I think I will do strawberries first. But you could add, you know, you can think about, you know, you're doing red, white, and blue just because I did it for 4th of July. But you could add mango, you know, you could add all that, and pineapple, and it's almost like a pina colada, you know, parfait type of thing, which would be beautiful. So I've got that. So I think I'll add another layer, add in some granola. And you could do it any way that you want. So if you don't, you know, if you're like, hey, I just want just a little bit of granola and I want more fruit, then just do 1 layer granola or just do your granola on top. All right, a little bit more whipped cream. That around to the edges. Blueberries. A little bit more strawberries. Gotta even it out. Oops, wait, I didn't want to do that yet. I want to do a little dollop. Teeny little dollop. And if you had a nice mint plant outside, you could add a couple sprigs of mint. All right, I'll put this off to the side because I have plenty more to make. Yum. And see if Jerry can get a side view of that. But if you brought that out, look at that. I guarantee you, kids, adults, everybody, there's nobody in stuff that's not going to help themselves to that. That's delicious. An 85-degree weather in Colorado, guess what? Outside on the deck. I'll put those off to the side here so I can show you the meatball subs, but those are beautiful. Yum. Okay, the bread. Meatballs out so we can cool just slightly. There's the meatballs, all nice and brown. Yum, I can smell them. They smell great. The bread that I'm going to use is Izio. It's organic, fresh semi baguette. So the nice thing about it, Udi's, we talked about that yesterday, but Udi's is here in Colorado. Used to be all kinds of restaurants and things like that, really like Whole Foods, organic type of things. Sold off Udi's, started Izio, which is an artesian bakery. And the breads and stuff that you can get here hopefully you can get them other places. I think you can order. But his breads and stuff have very few ingredients. They're also vegan, non-GMO, so there's no oils, no eggs, none of those yucky things. So, Izio, wonderful. He has probably 15 different types. So you can get, like whole wheat and sourdough and I think like nut infused. There's all kinds of different ones. I put it in the oven for just a few minutes. All right. Air's warm. That out of the way. Okay, so we're going to build it. So we have, all of your bell peppers and your onions all ready to go. They're beautiful. But I could use them for many, many different things. And then we got the parfaits ready. We've got the cheese sauce. We have microgreens. I'm just going to keep them cool. So we have sprouts and stuff that we're going to add to the top. Get your greens. Got a cute little white plate. Just put a little sandwich wrapper on that. So we're just going to give it a couple minutes and stuff for the bread to warm up. Then we're going to grab. So we'll do the bread. You can do a little bit of marinara sauce if you want on the bread, and you can also sometimes take out the middle part of the bread so that you don't have as much bread, because when you do like a baguette, they tend to be a little bit thick. So we'll look and see how much bread's in there. You can do, and then we'll do the meatballs, and then we'll do the marinara sauce. We'll do the vegetables. We'll do the cheese drizzle on the cheese sauce, and then we'll put the microgreens on top. You could also add basil because we got plenty of fresh basil. So I might pull a couple basil leaves out and make it pretty. Do that. The extra basil that I have left over from yesterday is definitely will go in the freezer because you can freeze basil. And so I always have frozen basil ready to go. So when I'm doing like a Italian type of a meal, then I just pull the basil out that's from the freezer and use it. And you've got like the fresh taste of basil all the time. Same thing with all my, I have roasted garlic in there. I have mushrooms in there. I have spinach. I have kale. I have basil. Those are the things I keep frozen all the time. All right, let's move some things over. There's the marinara. We've got the cheese sauce. Spoon. Microgreens. We'll do that here in a second. Meatballs. Okay, we just need the bread. Should have put it in a couple minutes earlier. But you could do, just thinking about, because we'll just let the bread go over here for a second, but you could do pretty much any type of bread. I mean, you could do, just a regular sandwich bread. If you're like, I don't really want to go buy the baguettes, you could make huge hoagies. I mean, all kinds of different things. So do whatever you like and whatever makes sense, and whatever you can find at the stores too. Because I know, depending on where you live, sometimes the stores may or may not have the things that you're looking for. So I get it. Even in Colorado, we'll go sometimes have to go. I think millet was the thing the other day that we had to go to like 3 or 4 different stores just to find. And it's like millet used to be, before COVID and everything else used to be plentiful, but it's easy now. So when I do find millet, I usually buy like 2 or 3 packs of the Bob's Red Mill because I make a lot of the granola and I make it for, friends and family and neighborhood. Everybody around here loves it. So nice toast to the bread. All right, I think I'll just put it right on you can see it. Okay, meatballs. Got to have the meatballs. It's gonna be a big sandwich. Reason why is because it's a whole baguette. Let's see. Yeah, I can fit one more. Go. Marinara sauce. All the fresh basil in it. Maybe one more scoop. Gotta make it pretty for the photos. And this is one of those sandwiches that you could actually say could be a sloppy sandwich. So it's probably, as Guy Fieri always says, do the hunch. So when you're getting ready to eat it, you want to hunch over and stuff so you don't end up with anything on the front. And Guy Fieri, if you don't know him, diners, drive-ins, and dives, and millions of other things. Okay, vegetables. And since I'm home, I'll just a little bit more of the red color in there, a little bit of the white. Looking good. There we go. Add the color. All right, then we've got sprouts, which get ready. Or you could just do ribboned basil. You could do that too. Okay, comes the cheese sauce. Extra cheese sauce, potatoes, asparagus, you name it. You could actually make like a stir fry and then do a cheese sauce. You could do macaroni and cheese. The microgreens a little bit. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I think I'm just going to do a little bit of basil. Basil chiffonade. And then I'll freeze the rest. So basil chiffonade, you just take your leaves, put your leaves together, roll them up, and then just grab your knife and do nice little ribbon cuts all the way down. And it opens up like little ribbons. All right, let's get this out of the way. That's lunchtime in Colorado. Yay. Let me grab the parfaits. So for 4th of July, here is your plant-based meatball sub. So this is a baguette. So it's got 6 meatballs in it that they're made with kidney beans, all kinds of different spices, mushrooms, etc., which are absolutely yummy, and they hold up really well. Then we've got kind of did a homage to a Philly cheesesteak. So we actually put in red bell peppers and onions and all kinds of different things on top because I wanted some crunch on it too. And then we did a homemade cheese sauce with that. So a white cheese sauce, which is really good. Then we of course have got your basil and a little bit of your microgreens or your sprouts, all ready to go on a nice baguette. And then of course for dessert, which because you have to have the red, white, and blue, and we've got a little bit of red and white in there too, but no blue. We have got your berry parfaits and stuff with their millet granola that we made for homemade. So that is for 4th of July. I know Chef AJ had asked me if we were going to do this for 4th of July because we are a little bit early. Don't know if I'm going to do this or burgers or we're going to do something different. I would definitely probably do the parfaits because I think they'd be a huge hit depending on where we go and what we do. But other than that, not sure yet. So it's going to be one of those ones that kind of just hits me in the mood. All right, guys. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching part 1 and then catching up on part 2. Sorry about the outage in Colorado, but sometimes that happens, and doesn't matter if we had. I guess it really wouldn't have mattered if we had, generators, anything. It was pretty much everybody was out for at least 2 or 3 hours. So good thing it came back on before it got too hot in the house. So, all right, love you guys. Talk to you soon. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.